Limits to Growth 30-year update. This is published in 2004. This is the 20th century. Still the same people behind it. Let me go to the back. Now, they didn't call it social credit score yet. They called it something else, but I wanted to introduce you to appendix number 1. Now, let me just bring you in real close. These nice folks at the Club of Rome have been running a computer program for the past 30 years, designed by Jay Forrester, one of the first cyberneticians back in the day.
So
right. So they're running computer models, trying to plan out the world for the future. And this is how they're making decisions. They're not actually taking data from the real day environment. They got a computer model, tells them all about it. They call it the World 3. World 3 was originally constructed for use in our 1972 volume, the first edition of Limits to Growth. It was fully described in the technical report in our study. The model was originally written in a computer simulation language called Dynamo. By 1990, a new language, Stella, offered the best tools for our analysis. That was a Marlon Brando joke. When we prepared the scenarios for our 1992 volume, Beyond the Limits to Growth.
Wait, isn't there a limit though? How can you go beyond the limit?
Right.
So there's
yeah,
a
they
limit.
make the limits. They make the limits up, Tony.
Very strange contradiction.
The World 3 model was converted from Dynamo to Stella and updated into a new version called the World 3-91. The changes we made for that conversion are described in the appendix to Beyond the Limits, that other book I showed you earlier. When preparing the scenarios for the current book, it proved useful to update the World 391 slightly. Yeah, it's been over 10 years. You might update your model. The resulting model, called World 303, is available on CD-ROM. That tells you what they had back then to share that type of data on. You couldn't even get it from the website yet. It's still on CD-ROM.
Sure. Oh yeah.
But it is simple to summarize a few changes necessary to convert World 391 to 303. The 3 changes calculate. So they're just telling you the changes. Now check out these changes. This last one, a new variable called the Human Welfare Index, an indicator of the well-being of the average global citizen. It's kind of like the social credit score. Let's go and read just a little about it. See, here's the structures. They had, technology development.
That's literally like a circuit diagram.
In this appendix, here's where they design the logic for what ends up being very much like this green social credit score type thing. And read all about it. Then there's indicators of human welfare and the ecological footprint. That appendix, that's fun to read. Anyway, these people who were planning out limits to growth for the past 30 years, 40 years at this point, almost. Yeah, over 40 years at this point. Almost 50 years.
50, yeah, just about 50.
1970 is what they go back to with the predicament of mankind, man. While people were watching Cheech and Chong movies, these people were making plans to take over the world for your kids and grandkids. Sad but true, not conspiracy theory, not anti, Earth. I'm not trying to destroy the planet, but these people artificially making people do conspicuous consumption through making things like cheaper and not to last long time. So you fill up the landfills to convince people that the world is overpolluted. The plastics that are poisoning the oceans that could have been replaced with hemp 60 years ago, we would have a biodegradable form plastic that is natural to the earth and doesn't cause any CO2 footprint problems, right? Yeah. In other words, the predicament of mankind is something they artificially created, and it's Hegelian dialectic. Now they're going to come in and provide you with the solution to it. And the solution is unfreedom. The solution is no more air conditioning. I heard Biden talk last week about community cooling stations, because you're not going to be able to run your AC like you want to. You're not going to, because that's not good for your carbon footprint. They're not going to allocate you the electricity you might want, or the gasoline or the electricity you might want to travel. Right. So they're trying to restrict people in a very serious way these days.
It's
and
just
people are feeling the squeeze, but they don't understand where it's coming from. And they definitely don't understand where it's going yet. But if we keep making episodes, maybe someday they will.